What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. So I'm here today to talk about The Real Housewives of Dubai, Season 1, Episode 3, Lemons into Lemonade. So let's jump around into it, but first be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, of course. And now, as for the actual episode, we immediately kick off with basically the main focus, which is Lesa Milan's upcoming fashion show. And now, this is her first ever fashion show. She also says that this is the first maternity wear fashion show that she can recall that has gone down in Dubai. And this is also a big moment for her brand, Mina Roe, because it was originally launched and conceptualized as like a maternity wear brand, and that's mainly what they focus on. But she's starting to kind of branch out and expand into non-maternity wear. And so this is a fashion show to basically showcase that. So showing off both her maternity wear and her non-maternity wear. It's a huge deal for Lesa. She's really excited, a little bit nervous, but she has her homegirl, Chanel Ayan, to back her up. Because Ayan, she's also the one who's providing the models for the fashion show. But she's basically really helping Lesa out, it was really cool to see. And now, while Lisa's talking about the fashion show, she also shares that her husband, Rich, he's the, is it Rich or Rick? It's like same shit. I think it's Rich. That he is the CFO of Mina Roe. And she shares that when he initially invested into the brand, he said that he didn't really believe in it. It wasn't really, but he was investing in her. And so it's kind of like, ooh, we kind of, immediately when I hear like, oh, the husband is the CFO of my brand, it's like, ooh, that's a weird, dynamic, or could potentially be. We'll see more about that later on, but we kind of plant the seed for that now. And before we kind of move on to some other people, Ayan, she's kind of talking with Lesa and this other guy about like, basically about like the models and stuff like that, because it's really important to Lesa that she has a diverse array of models in terms of like body shape and body type and stuff like that. And so Ayan, she's like, oh yeah, we have to get the supersize models. And they're like, do you mean plus size?
Okay. Don't forget the supersize ones too. We need more of them.
Not supersize.
Plus size.
Plus size.
Plus size.
This is not McDonald's,
I
girl.
know. Many big brands, they come to me to get models because I have a modeling agency. But Lesa is the first client that ever asked me for a plus size model. Super size is food. It's not humans.
Let me move on to seeing Stanbury and Nina, who are basically the people who the people in the cast who people are least gravitating towards so far. Nina, I'll get on her a little bit later on. But they're linking up with their kids, and they're basically doing like a staycation sleepover kind of thing at this fabulous hotel. There's like, it's called the like Atlantis or something like that over in Dubai, and there are parts like if you're in the bathroom, you can see like these fish through like the window. Like, it's underwater partially, so it's pretty cool. There's like staycation kind of vibe, but oddly, so Nina's kids are fairly young. They're like 9, 7, and like 5 or 6, I think. And Stanbury's kids are a bit older, but so yeah. And then while they're checking in, Stanbury, again, she gives us a little bit of context about like how Dubai is in a way, because she's wearing a crop top, and she's like, oh, people ask me all the time because she's from London, and she's like, as someone who's not from here and who's living here, everyone's like, oh, can you dress like however you want? Like can you dress skankily? And she's like, oh yeah, it's not about having to be covered up. It's about showing respect. And so I guess she says that it doesn't really matter what she wears. And then while they're together, it's mainly Stanbury and Nina at this point. The kids are kind of doing their own thing. They're talking about how they didn't really vibe at first, but they eventually kind of got to know each other. And Caroline Stanbury, she said that she low-key thought that Nina like would be boring at first. So going back to fucking Ayan's comment from last episode, she's like, oh, Nina's mashed potatoes with no butter, plain. And it's like, oh, I guess Stanbury thought the same thing at first. But, and then just a little quick scene, Stanbury's daughter, Yasmin, she's like 15, I believe. She arrives because she was doing something else for a while. So she arrives, and Stanbury brings up that Sergio wants to have another kid. And so Stanbury, I guess she has 3 kids already. We only see 2 of it. We've seen 2 of them so far. I'm not sure how old the other one is, but we've seen 2. One's like 15, the other one's 11 or 12. And Yasmin, the 15-year-old, she's very vocally opposed to it. And she said that Sergio needs a reality check and not having a kid. And it's like, girl, calm down. It's like, let your mom... And later on in the season, in the trailer, we see that Yasmin calls her mom, like, a MILF. And it's like, girl, let your mom be a MILF and let her have a baby with her hot husband. Like, girl, shut up. She seems so threatened by it. She's like, oh, no, you can't have any more kids. No, you're done. It's like, girl, shut up. Like, let your mom be an adult. Shut up. But it was a little cute scene. Then we see Ayan and Lisa again, but this time they're both pulling up to a restaurant. And they're essentially going to meet with Caroline Brooks just to have some lunch and talk about some stuff. As we know, Ayan always brings gifts everywhere she goes, and she brings Brooks a pot of lemons. And she gives two different explanations for this. When she's talking to Lisa, just kind of chatting about it, she's like, oh, it's because she's been so bitter, so I brought her all these lemons. But later on, like, when Brooks gets there, she explains, she's like, oh, it's because we had this issue between us, but hopefully we can take this issue, this lemon, and turn it into some lemonade. So, you know, it has some multiple meanings behind it. It's a double entendre, you know, whatever. Again, Brooks pulls up. Ayan, she brings up Nina's dinner, the thing that brought up the lemons, the lemon tree, if you will. Brooks, she says that she felt as though, kind of going back to how she said at Stanbury's bachelorette party, where Brooks was like, oh, Chanel, Ayan, we're so cool, we were talking all the time. And then she just iced me out of nowhere. I guess we must have an issue. So Brooks brings that up, and Ayan explains that at that time she wasn't really in the best mindset because apparently her husband, I guess he's from America, and he had to leave Dubai to go back to the States because his sister was very sick. And so he was going back for like a whole month to like just be with his sister. I guess like help take care of her and stuff. And so Ayan, she was really kind of upset about that. She wasn't excited about having to leave her husband leaving her for a whole month. And then I guess on top of that, her mother was sick or something like that. Just some other personal shit. And she was just kind of going through a lot at the moment. And Brooks was like, Ayan, I didn't know any of this. And I feel like our friendship is at the point where you could call me and tell me. And Ayan in the confessional, she kind of brings up the whole thing like, so you're getting at me for not calling you, but you didn't call me, like...
I'm tired of friends when they're like, you didn't call me, so we have issues now. But you didn't call me. It's a two-way street, honey. That's why the road is left and right. You gotta go left, you gotta right. And then there's a straight line where you meet in the middle. We never met in the middle. That is the problem.
But yeah, and so we kind of see more about their dynamic. I believe Ayan, she also speaks a bit more to her relationship with Brooks and about how they're super cool for a bit, but then she feels as though Brooks just likes to piss her off. And Brooks just may have that, I don't know, I like, Brooks is good TV. You know, someone was saying, off topic a little bit, but someone on Twitter was talking about, people are predicting like the seating arrangements for the reunion. And they're like, okay, so clearly Chanel Ayan is going to be next to Andy on one side. And people also widely believe that Caroline Stanbury is going to be on the other side of Andy. Even though we basically collectively believe that so far she shouldn't be next to Andy. But it's because she's a Bravo alum. You know, she's been on Ladies of London before. She was kind of used mainly to help promote the show, to get it off the ground, if you will. But I feel like if it's not Caroline Stanbury, it would have to be Caroline Brooks. It's going to be Chanel Ayan and one of the Carolines. Probably Stanbury, just going off of, again, her being a Bravo alum and her name being, like, arguably the one who was, like, with the longest standing, if you will. Like, she was the one who people first knew, is basically what I'm saying. But could go to Caroline Brooks, fingers crossed. But yeah, and then Lisa gets us to focus on, like, the main issue again, which was Chanel being told that she wasn't important enough to be at Caroline Stanbury's party. And she asked, oh, well, did Stanbury say that about Ayan? Brooke said no, that, oh, I said it about her, but I didn't mean it maliciously. I meant it like, oh, yeah. She says just banter, you know, which I do believe, you know, just something you say, like, oh. It's kind of like just a shady little dig, but you're not, like, being malicious about it. It's just kind of like an offhanded kind of thing. Ayan and Brooks squash their beef, but Ayan's issue with Stanbury comes up about how they're just really not meshing. And Lesa proceeds. Ayan doesn't really say a whole lot, but Lesa voices her opinion on the matter, and she says that she believes that Stanbury needs to apologize to Ayan. She says some shit like, she should come crawling to you and beg for to speak with you and apologize if you're willing to accept it. So Lesa is hella team Ayan, which they made very clear in the first episode. But so that's where they're at right now. And Brooks is just there, kind of like, we already know that Brooks is gonna like be the bone carrier and go tell. That's what Brooks is, like the messy one in this. But so she's very much well needed. I kind of like Brooks. She's putting in some work.
Chanel Ayan and Lesa Milan always team up with each other. This is what they do. This is yin and yang. Thing 1 and thing 2, Ren and Stimpy, Dumb and Dumber. I don't expect anything from Pinky and the Brain. They can't think without each other. The Brain is Lesa, and Pinky is definitely Chanel Ayan.
Let her reach out. Let her beg to have a conversation
Not
with you.
beg.
If you feel like it, queen, then on your terms, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Lisa's also really cool. Basically everyone likes Ayan, Lesa, Brooks, and Sarah. Nina and Stanbury are kind of like they're kind of falling off at the end, but the aforementioned 4 women, they're really garnering up some attention. And then speaking of Sarah, she's in the next scene. She's doing a photo shoot that her publicist set up. It's for like some Western magazines, like something based in like Europe or North America. And she takes the opportunity to kind of share more on her background. She was in the fashion world for a bit. She had like a clothing line and all that shit. She'd do fashion shows. And then she eventually sold off the company and she invested into tech. So she says she has 4 tech companies, and she has a skincare line. She does NFTs. So she's a businesswoman as fuck. And she also shares that she has had a total of like 15 companies, but some of them were major failures. She's gone bankrupt twice. She learned a lot of things. So I really appreciate that transparency. It's kind of like, yes, I do this, I do that. But there's been some failures, and that's okay. And so that's really cool that she's opening up about that. She shares a bit more about what the photo shoot is for. It's for this feature that's on disruptive Arab women in tech. And she also shares that like she gets some publicity in the Western world because she basically subverts the stereotype about what women in the Middle East, essentially. So again, she's Emirati. She's from Dubai. She's Muslim, and she's not from Dubai, but she's from the UAE. Maybe she was raised in Dubai. I don't know. She wasn't born in Dubai, but she's from the country. And she says that like a lot of people will be like, "Oh, you're so rebellious. You're so outspoken. You have all these tattoos. You do all this and that." And she's like, "Yes, I don't have to be in this full hijab just because I am a Muslim Arab woman." And so she kind of speaks on that a little bit. And speaking of her tattoo, she shares that she's kind of judged a lot for her tattoo. She has like a bunch of like small little weird ones. And she talks about how like people judge her for having tattoos, but there are all kinds of women who get their eyebrows tatted, but that's not seen as a tattoo because it's like more for cosmetic reasons or and she talks about like being different. Well, tattoos are all for cosmetic reasons, but you know what I mean. It's like a makeup kind of thing. So Sarah really takes pride in being different. She fucking there's one scene where she's like taking a picture. She's like, "Oh, I want to show off my alien tattoo because I'm an alien. I'm different." It reminded me of like these like Hot Topic shirts where it's like I'm a dinosaur. Rawr. It's like I'm an alien.
Okay. I want to take a full.
Okay.
But I want to show my alien tattoo.
Okay.
Because I'm an alien.
I used to think it was just me.
No, we're both aliens. I don't want to fit in. I want to be different.
100%.
Who cares what people say?
And then again, Sarah, she shares that she's modest and conservative by choice, and that she doesn't need to be that way just because she's Muslim. She says her Islamic values are in her heart. not in her clothing. Which is really cool. So Sarah's really see that Sarah's, basically she's like repping the country because all the other people are like are expats from elsewhere. So she's repping like her home country. And she's also really showing that, you know, again, she's subverting these stereotypes. So good for Sarah. Then we see the Carolines, Brooks and Stanbury. They're linking at this like plastic surgery spa kind of thing that Stanbury is an ambassador for. And then in her confessional, Brooks is kind of throwing some shade because she's like, yeah, Stanbury gets a lot of free shit because she's an influencer. But I'm like, girl, you're not that influential. I was like, ooh. But so that's where she's coming from. And then Brooks, again, continue to be messy. Well, she's speaking on like the plastic surgery culture in Dubai. It's very similar to like America. It's just like, it's very normalized essentially. And Brooks proceeds to air Sarah the fuck out. Brooks,
I feel as though the person to ask about plastic surgery is Sara Al Madani. Sara Al Madani knows the head to the toe, the rooter to the tutor about plastic surgery. Amazing.
and it's like, oh, lordy lord. Like, I feel like we all kind of looked at Sara Al Madani's lips and kind of knew that, like, oh, she had her lips then. But it's like, oh, it's like, Brooks, you bitch. But anyways, and then Brooke, she tells Stanbury she basically fills her in about what Lisa said regarding how Stanbury owes Ayan an apology. And Caroline Stanbury is not with it.
Well, hell will freeze over first. So.
Lisa's like a gnat behind me. Whether I owe somebody an apology or not from a fight I'm having with that person is none of her business, and she needs to pipe down.
There's such a little pairing, those two. They've just backed each other so blindly, they have to follow it through at this point. I mean, we're just grown-ass women. I just can't.
And now we have the Mina Roe fashion show. Lisa says she's like under pressure, but she's ready to pull through. This is a really big deal for her on a lot of different fronts. And she has Ayan's help. Ayan's really putting some work for her homegirl, really helping her out. So it's really cool to see that. Stanbury is not going to Lisa's show because she basically says that she texts her on the day of, and she says, oh, I'm kind of overwhelmed by wedding planning. I'm gonna have to sit this one out. So Stanbury's the only one in the cast who's not going, and it's a blatant lie. Stanbury and we check in back home, and she's just hanging out at the house with Sergio, and she's just like, what did she say? She said that she's not upset, that she's not sad that she's missing the party, basically. And she says, oh, I would have loved to support her, but I'm not doing any drama. She says that she's not on good terms with Lisa, but it's like, no, you are. Like, you're just upset that Lisa thinks that you owe Ayan an apology. So that's what Stanbury's being. I think it's kind of weird that she's not going. I don't know. I think it's weird she didn't go to this cast thing. Lisa's kind of like, what the fuck? But she says that, you know, Stanbury's paid for Instagram followers. They're not going to bring any revenue, so girl, bye. So the girls got some shade at Stanbury's Instagram influencer status, and love to see it. Another scene that really kind of pissed me off. So Nina, she's hanging out. I think she's like one of the first castmates to arrive. One of the servers is like, oh, like, can you see anything to eat or whatever? And Nina's like, oh, can I have French fries? Which are not on the menu. And Nina's like, make it happen.
No, do you have any vegetarian options? Any French fries? French fries.
I don't know if
make it happen. I'm waiting for French fries. Make it happen. حتى هني French fries? شو بيعرفني? I told them to make it happen.
And then later on in a confessional, she's like, oh, French fries make me happy, and I'm a simple woman. And it's like, Nina, you seem like a bitch. You know, it's like, I just really didn't fucking like that. It's like, girl, why are you ordering off the menu? And it seems as though Lesa Milan may have not liked that either, because on Twitter, she was like, oh, I serve French fries at my children's birthday parties. I'm gonna serve this fancy shit at a fashion show. Who the fuck has French fries at a fashion show? And what kind of fat bitch orders french fries at a fashion show? You know what I mean? It was like, girl, my fat ass would not even do, it's like, what? And I don't know, it's the way she was saying it. She was repeatedly kind of telling the staff, like, make it happen. Like, just make it happen. And granted, french fries are fairly easy to fucking make. But it's like, well, that's not their job. It's not in the menu. It's like, girl, I feel like a lot of people fucking money, they confuse money with, like, relevance. It's like, you're Nina Ali. You may have money. You live in Dubai. You're not Beyonce. You're not, you're not this... I don't know. I just really didn't fucking like that. And you know what? I'm gonna fucking say this as well. Every time, so we've seen their people's family and stuff like that, so a few times so far. Every time we see Nina's kids, they're kind of bratty. But I didn't really say it. It's like kids are kind of different. But it's like, oh, maybe it's because their mom's a brat. Like, their mom's a brat herself. So that's probably, I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't think it was iconic or cool or made her, like, chic or anything. I think she thought, like, yes, queen. We love a queen who loves her french fries. But it's like, you just look like a pompous asshole. And it's not even, it's like, for fries? I don't know. I thought that was stupid. I was like, Nina, do you think you're, like, doing something? Do you think you're, like, serving? I don't know. I did not like that. The fashion show starts. Lisa and Ayan are running around backstage like chickens with their heads cut off. They are just busy, putting fake bellies on certain models. There's one point where Lisa, she, like, takes off her heels and she tells the model, here, wear my shoes, because those shoes don't go with that dress. Like, wear these instead. So they're down in the trenches doing all this work, trying to make it, like, fabulous, and they're really putting some work. The show goes super well. Everyone is super impressed and is blown away, and is very proud of Lisa, so it's a really cool moment. Then we head over to the Mina Roe after party. Nina is still waiting on her fries, and oddly, Sara and Brooks, they, like, tell staff, like, oh, she's still waiting on her fries, like, she asked you guys to make some fries. And I thought that was kind of weird, because, like, are you condoning this? I don't know, I really place a lot of value in how people speak to and treat, like, service staff, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, it's like, don't be rude, don't be an asshole, and I thought Nina was being a rude asshole, and I don't know, I didn't like that Sara and Brooks were kind of co-signing it by, like, asking for the fries for it. It's like, bitch, let that bitch do her own, like, I don't know, let her do it herself. It was like, I don't know. I was particularly surprised about that from Sara. I thought, I don't know. But whatever. And then when Nina gets her fucking fries, she immediately asks for ketchup. And it's like, I don't know. I, like, wasn't really feeling Nina, but I was just like, this whole time, I was just that one, like, pissed off emoji where it's like, I was just that, like, emoji, just, like, mad at, like, I was annoyed at Nina's whole episode. I was like, girl, what? Are you serious? But yeah, everyone cheers to Lisa. Her hubby gushes over her, and he's really supportive. It's a good night and shit. But in the preview for the next episode, we kind of see a different side to him a little bit. They're talking about finances for Mina Roe, and he's like, I guess Lisa she made the executive decision to order something, and he, as a CFO, was like, if I don't approve it, and if my signature is on it, it cannot get sent out. Like, as he's, like, hitting the table or whatever. And he's not, like, yelling or anything, he's, like, being stern, and Lisa's like, this is so patronizing. And it's like, girl, this is why you gotta be careful with getting, like, your man up in your fucking business. And I understand that, like, his investment may have been, like, very much needed. It's like, I don't know. I guess you can find other investors and shit like that. And it's obviously easier to go through your husband than to go through finding another business investor. But, I don't know, girl. But anyway, props to Lisa. It's a really good evening for her. Fuck Nina. Stanbury, it seems like Stanbury's starting to kind of give it a little bit more, get more involved in the drama. So we'll see if she starts showing up a bit more. So far, we haven't really been impressed by her. So hopefully Stanbury starts showing up a bit more. But yeah, it was a pretty okay episode. It was kind of like whatever, but it was really cool to see Lisa shine. That was definitely awesome. But anywho, whatever. I'm sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.